YouTube has $100 million to give to its users. Dan Howell has opened up about the seriousness of his mental health issues. David Dobrik's assistant Natalie has clapped back against some negative comments about David. And we've got the return of Factory or Fictionary. All this plus the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have joined YouTube, and we have an exclusive interview with both of them on this week's edition of YouTuber News. Hosted by me, Benedict Townsend, at Benedict Town, and brought to you by PopBuzz, the only website that definitely isn't chuggy.
Being chuggy is so sus.
Am I saying that right? So sus-pilled. Breh. Among Us. I'm double parked today, I've got two mugs. This isn't a functioning mug, this is a stage mug. It's just for show. It hasn't even got a gap inside, it's just completely solid. Our first story, YouTube has $100 million and they want to give it to you if you use their TikTok clone. Oh, all right, calm down, kids. You're not even supposed to be here. Why is there a school trip here? This is not COVID safe. Yes, much like the TikTok Creator Fund and the Snapchat Creator Fund, YouTube is ponying up 100 milli smackaroos to be shared among creators who use Shorts, which is a knockoff of Reels, which was a knockoff of Snapchat Spotlight, which was a knockoff of TikTok, which was a knockoff of Vine, which was a knockoff of a 6-second video I made in 1998, and I will see all of them in court. Just kidding, love you Snapchat. Love you really. YouTube. Now to get this money is very simple, you just have to make shorts and that 100 million will be spread around creators at different random varying amounts based on how many views you get, shares, arbitrary systems that we made up by YouTube and not explained to us. Now shorts are only available currently in the US, but don't worry, they're on their way and they're coming fast, they're unavoidable. There's even apparently reports that YouTube is planning to replace their little sort of explore button at the bottom of their app with just a shorts button. So that'll be nice. So you can just keep accidentally clicking on that for the next few months until they inevitably give up on this project. Now, before we move on to our second story, as I mentioned, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, that's Kate and Wills, by the way. They have agreed to be interviewed on the show today, but obviously they have very packed schedules, so we're just kind of waiting for them to say when they're free, and then we're just gonna go live to the call. We'll kind of wait. Speak of the royals and they shall appear. They're free now. Connect them up. Okay, let's see. Are we through? Okay, no, that's just footage. That's footage of my cat Suki. That's just footage of Suki. Can we see? Is there something wrong with the feed? We'll reconnect the feed. Oh, they're gone. Okay, they're gone. Well, we'll try them again later. Obviously, they're very busy. Stay tuned for that though. Our second story, Dan Howell has released an excerpt from his new book, You Will Get Through This Night, which details his struggles with his mental health, including, trigger warning, an attempt to take his own life. The excerpt covers parts of his childhood, his struggles with his sexual identity, and the realization that he had depression. He details that he dealt with that depression with medication and also with therapy, but he says that at one point he felt, quote, constantly outcast, tired of the constant physical and verbal abuse I suffered everywhere I turned every day, feeling like I was fundamentally flawed, and there was no escape in sight. I attempted to take my own life. Thankfully, it failed. Dan has released this excerpt partly because his book is due out soon, May the 18th, but also because it is, at the time of recording, Mental Health Awareness Week, so it seems like a good time to make people aware of mental health. Excited for when they launch Mental Health Funding Week, but that seems to be long away in the pipeline. Let's all start with being aware it exists and then actually providing services. Ooh, I don't know about that. That's down the road. Daniel shared the excerpt on social media saying, quote, I'm bearing all of my soul in this book with the wish that you might not have to endure the same struggles I have. Somehow I still feel scared talking about how I really feel or my sexuality, which I imagine will be a much longer journey. Being open and vulnerable doesn't come naturally to me, but with this, at least some good can come out of what I have been through. In 1 week, this story will no longer be mine. It will be out into the world and yours. I hope it helps. Lovely. And I'd like to say that, Suki, the fact that you would loudly go into the toilet throughout that story is incredibly disrespectful. And I hope the microphone didn't pick that up. You didn't need to be scratching around that much. Could you hear anything? You must be done by now. What's that? Are they available? All right, we're gonna try one more time to connect with the Duke and Duchess. So if we could get that go, please. Okay, it's ringing, that's promising, okay. Hopefully that'll answer. That is just Suki again. Right, that is just my cat Suki. Why do we have a live feed to Suki? That's not relevant at all to what we cover on the show. Well, I don't know what we cover on the show, but it's not that. I live with her all the time. Why would I need a constant live feed of what she's doing? I want the Duke and Duchess by the end of this. I want D&D by the end of this show. And finally, David Dobrik's assistant and best friend, Natalie, has stepped up to defend David against what she perceives to be online hate comments. In a recent TikTok, Natalie was showing off some outfits from her wardrobe, pretty innocent, but people were not having it. They were leaving comments like, quote, "Funny how you get to play dress up as Jeff lays in pain from an accident you probably helped approve," in reference to Jeff Wittick, a former member of the Vlog Squad who said that he often had to take part in dangerous pranks at David's request and that David didn't care if he got hurt. David wanted him apparently to get hurt because it was better footage, all that. We covered it on previous episodes of this show, so you can go back and watch that. Yeah, I'm not going to do your work for you here. Who do you think I am? Another person commented, quote, "When you try to be famous but can't without David," someone said similarly. Another person said, "So irrelevant without David," and it went on and on like that. But Natalie was not having it. She said, quote, "Yo, some of y'all need to chill. Dave's still my best friend. Sorry you missed that in the 10-second TikTok I made in my friggin' closet this morning, lol," which of course means lots of love. So, a couple of interesting things here. First of all, quite good for Natalie to clap back at these people. You know, you can't have people harassing you on an innocent video, but also notable that she is standing by David, which I guess is what you'd expect. She is supposed to be his best friend, she's supposed to be his personal assistant, but you know, in times of crisis and cancellation, it's quite common for people to sort of distance themselves from famous YouTubers when they become slightly radioactive, but it seems like Natalie is doubling down and she's staying with David. Because ultimately, when you are someone's good friend, and when you've got someone's back, and when someone is paying you an enormous salary, I mean, she must make so much money, and also you're like BFFs, that's when you defend someone. That's called loyalty. Look it up. All right, next up we got Factory or Fictionary, but do we want to try one more time with the Duke and Duchess? They've just, if you don't know, they literally have just joined YouTube, and there's all these stories like, "Oh, the Duke and Duchess, the new big vlogger on YouTube. Extra, read all about it." And I thought, you know, it'd be nice, they could come here and promote their channel, I could promote me getting a knighthood, and it could be a nice thing. But do we want to see if we can connect one more time? All right, and we want no Suki in this. Okay, it's ringing. Oh, is that them? It looks fuzzy. I think that might be them. Hello, Your Highness? Oh, no, that's just footage of Suki looking really tired. Yeah, she's like half asleep, but can't quite fall asleep. It's very cute. It's not the heir to the throne. It's the heir to my heart. Let's do Fact or Fictionary. Welcome to Fact or Fictionary, the series that tells you about the life and times of the late Tim Factory and his many siblings and their adventures. Now, last week we had a roller coaster episode with the return of Margaret Factory, the aluminium lady, and her new husband, Dan Howell. And that inclusion seems in bad taste, considering the previous stories we've covered, but let's just gloss on by that for now and not mention him in this story. So Jim Factory had inherited his brother Tim's factory. Margaret, the aluminium lady, nearly slit there. She came back. Jim was like, "Margaret, what are you doing here?" She's like, "This is my factory. Hold on, let me get this right. This is my factory. I will be taking this factory for myself." And he said, hold on. We're family. Family. It's a word. Surely we can work on this together. And she said, "Well, how about you run the day-to-day of the factory and I will handle the business element." So he said, okay, and they shook hands. And they started doing that. And for a few weeks, it went all right. You know, he every day, he kind of whipped the little Oompa Loompas who made all the factory making machinery. She was up in the office, you know, with a big abacus, you know, doing all the maths. And at the end of the month, she brought down a piece of paper and she said, "Well, here's our returns. We had a bumper month. We made lots of money. And here is your paycheck." And he took his paycheck and his eyes, it was actually a medical condition, but his eyes flew out of his head like that. And he said, "What the heck? This is for 8 pence. She said, "Yes, don't spend it all at once." And he goes, "Well, how the heck have we sold all those factories this month? And I've only made 8 pence. And she said, "Well, I had to make certain allowances. For example, you were always eating those candy poles." He's like, "What, you mean candy canes?" She's like, yes, well, canes, poles, whatever. And you were going to the sweet shop and buying them with the company funds and eating them on company time. So I did have to tax you for all those poles. And he's like, what is this? Some kind of poles tax? And she's like, yes, a poles tax. He's like, that's interesting. And what about this with the milk? She said, yes, you've been drinking a lot of milk. I felt like I kind of had to snatch that away from you. Well, I don't like this at all. I'll see you in court. Ooh! So, next week, trial of the century. Everyone who watches this show is like 12 years old. They're not going to get these references. This has been Factory or Fictionary. So stay tuned for the next installment of Factory or Fictionary. Now, I actually got a comment on my TikTok the other day. I have TikTok at Benedict Town. I actually get comments every so often from people who go,
Hey Benedict, what happened to YouTuber News? I used to watch it every week. I love YouTuber News.
Multiple people have commented on my TikTok going,
What happened to YouTuber News?
And as you will know right now, YouTuber News still goes out every week. It goes out twice a week. But I think what has happened to these people is they were not subscribed to the show. And now there's so many other Snapchat shows, because we were one of the first Snapchat shows, that, we get a bit lost in the crowd. And that's why it's important to subscribe to the show on Snapchat and YouTube, because then you make sure you're guaranteed to get the brand new episode every week. So I'm not going to say if you don't subscribe, bad things will happen to you. I'm not saying that. So yes, you can swipe up on the last snap of this story to subscribe, or you can hit subscribe on YouTube. And either way, you'll be part of an exclusive club of really cool people who get the episode first. Nifty. Now, there won't be a full episode of YouTuber News next week, but there will be something possibly better, the first installment of our new documentary series about the life and times of me and the rat on this show. So if you've ever wondered about the lore and the weird backstory and all the weird stuff that's happened on this show, like me running for president, me being assassinated, all that stuff that's happened, we've got a 3-part documentary. It's really funny. Carwin and Amber have really put together something special. And the first episode of that is coming out next week, next Friday, right here in the YouTuber News feed on Snapchat and YouTube. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And there will also be an episode of Quick Bites on Tuesday. That will also be recording from home, so you get a little bit more Suki goodness. And there will be a new installment of the YouTuber News podcast next Tuesday as well, with the return of the numbers segment. So it's going to be a very busy week for you. I hope you've cleared your schedule. Either way, goodbye.